Hi, everyone. I would like to discuss my personal brand journey with you and how I came up with my personal brand statement as well as my LinkedIn profile content that reflects that personal brand statement. I'll first discuss some questions that I considered, then some actions that I took, some further considerations and pitfalls. Then I'll actually read my personal brand statement that I came up with, go onto my LinkedIn profile, and show how that brand statement is reflected in my LinkedIn profile. My final slide is just references. So, some questions I contemplated were basically who I am as a professional, where I stand in the field, what's unique about me, what I bring to the table, and why should I be hired. I considered these questions in the thought process of how a recruiter would potentially consider me as a candidate. So, first, I wanted to make sure that it was clear what professional I am and what professional I'd like to be, where I stand in the field, and where I would like to be. What makes me unique, and I think that plays into what I bring to the table and why I should be hired. In a nutshell, I'm a marketing executive right now, but I'd like to be a more internal or external communications professional that has a lot more writing involved and a lot more creative content uh, related tasks involved in the day-to-day job. I do think that I'm very unique in that I know a lot of different skills. I'm also multicultural. I've had experience working for Fortune 500 companies, doing various marketing roles as well as communications roles. And so I'd like to continue doing so. I'd like to continue working for large corporations. I've also worked in startup environments, so that's pretty unique about me. And I bring to the table a ton of different skills. I was a journalist. I know how to shoot video. I know how to write I know how to create graphics. I know how to write content for online, for various different formats, print, television, whatever is necessary of a communications role. I've pretty much got it covered either through my studies or through my experience. So those are the reasons why I should be hired, because I can do the work of various people. So some of the actions I took to come up with my personal brand statement included me coming up with a list of the things that I see myself as. And then I kind of cross-reference that list with people who know me well, former coworkers, former managers, family members. And we kind of both had a consensus that I was really a storyteller. I was really a great writer. I was efficient and effective in my job. I could wear various hats. I can work well under pressure. I was a good project manager. So these are all things that I considered when coming up with my personal brand statement. I also had some further considerations based on our readings. So Lair, Sullivan, and Cheney make two really good points. So I didn't want to self-commodify myself. So I didn't want to sell myself as a product, a marketable good. I wanted my brand statement to be something very organic, and it was something that's really like about who I am as a person and who I am as a professional. I didn't want to just sell myself as a product. I also I wanted to tell myself that the brand was not going to be something that was the key to my success. It was just going to be kind of as Citrion states, that it's more like a roadmap or a guide versus the exact way that I should be living towards success. So success will come if I use this as sort of a loose guide on how I make decisions and how I present myself at work. And then finally, I did want to take from Toffanelli that my work experience does convey trust and it does convey confidence. So I don't want to just be kind of a vague statement. I'd like to be a statement that is backed up by real world experience, and I'd like to highlight the experience that backs up that statement and why. So I did want to do that in my LinkedIn profile. So beyond my personal statement, I do talk about my experience and why I'm making this personal statement about myself. Finally, my personal brand statement is that I am a storyteller. That is my brand. My brand is I'm a great storyteller. I'm utterly fascinated by the power of communication. I feel that writing and creative content development is really my art. I feel that my words and the content that I create are kind of the paint soaked brushstrokes weaving together the compelling stories of businesses and brands. So that is my personal brand statement. Going on to my LinkedIn profile, I did select my cover photo to highlight that I'm a marketing communications professional, and then around it, their words, because I'm a great writer, I'm a storyteller, and therefore I chose this image with words of different skills that I possess and different things that I've done throughout my career thus far. I am highlighting that I'm a trilingual communications and marketing professional in my headline instead of belonging to a company. I don't currently work. I am just a full-time student, but even if I did, I wouldn't put my title and the company I work for in my headline. I just want to be known as a specialist in my field. And I also want it to be very prevalent that I am multilingual, because that has been a huge advantage in my career thus far. And I foresee it continuing to be a great advantage in my career. So here is my LinkedIn profile. Going further beyond my headline, I do have my personal brand statement here at the top. And then I go on in true storyteller fashion to talk about my experience a little bit more. I go on to mention which languages I speak. I go on to mention that I have domestic and multicultural communications and marketing experience. So what I'm saying isn't just coming out of nowhere. I do have the information to back it up. I've also been a journalist, and I have had my content published online, so nationally for Fox News Channel. So I am someone who can back up great work with, or rather, a great personal statement with great work. I did take the about me section, took the opportunity in the about me section rather, to discuss some of my specialities, some of my skills that I have. And this is more as a technicality, as a logistical strategy, because there's a lot of keywords and SEO that goes on in searching for a candidate, and I'd like to be flagged to be considered for positions that are needing of these particular skills that I possess. Logistically, I also wanted to include that I am a citizen of both Brazil and the United States, and I don't need a visa sponsorship, because that could potentially harm me, because if someone sees that I speak multiple languages, that I've worked with Brazil a lot, that they might think that I might need a visa sponsorship, which is not the case. It seems silly, but it's actually a very important line that I wanted to add to my LinkedIn profile. I go on to discuss my experience very thoroughly, and I do that again for the keyword aspect. I have several positions in my profile, as you can see, and I could click here and there will be even more positions. These are more positions than I have even on my resume, and the reason for that is because LinkedIn allows you to add as much as you can, so why not? I have my educational experience here. I go on to add my volunteer experience as another way to show who I am. This is all part of my story. Everything that I've added to my profile has been intentional, as I am a storyteller and I'm trying to tell the story of the fact that I am a great professional and that I can deliver for a company. I also added as many skills as I could, again, to be flagged, and again, to add the fact that I am a very well-rounded professional. I also asked for some references that kind of back up the fact that I'm making this personal statement. So I have references from former coworkers and former managers backing up the fact that I am who I say I am. I added some accomplishments, some organizations that I've participated in. I also added my packages and articles that I've had published nationally. And I added my languages again down here in case they've searched per language, perhaps, for me. My interests are just companies, and I don't have a lot of, this is possibly one section that I'd really like to add to. I'd like to add the interests that I have professionally, and I also would like to add some of my personal interests so people can know who I am a little better from my profile. All right, well, that's my presentation. It's been really lovely to have been working with you during this class. I look forward to seeing your feedback. Thank you so much, and these are my references of the different authors that I mentioned. Thank you.